I'm inviting you to a workshop where you work on you. Welcome to Clarity Dojo. Work to connect to the best in the world to get clarity. Head over to claritydojo.com. You'll get the latest research techniques, examples, and it takes all of the guesswork out of which questions to ask in order to get the best insight. Get clarity and take action today. Leah, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I sincerely appreciate it. How's everything going?
It's going really good. Yeah.
The purpose of the call tonight is we're going to try to just showcase the action that you took to connect with mentors prior to making your college decision. Mm-hmm. And from there, I want to model the questions. I have a bunch of questions that I recommend for anyone that's interested in speaking with a mentor. You know, it's a list. You can kind of cut and paste whatever you want, but I think that it gets a pretty good mix of insight from somebody who you would want to be mentored by about their career and kind of how they got there. So can you just tell me a little bit about your experience way back in freshman year of high school? So Leah was a student in my television broadcasting class. So we have a goals discussion in the beginning of the year, and we kind of talk about this whole process, connecting with mentors, and can you just kind of pick up from there?
Yeah. So you gave me the names of two girls who had also been in the program, and they had graduated, and I believe they're both upperclassmen in their colleges, pursuing different digital media, journalism related majors. And so I reached out to both of them, asking if I could just do a quick Skype call with them and ask them a few questions about the research they did for their college and the things that they were doing at their schools, and things like that. And so I Skyped with them, and I got to talk a lot with them about just the classes they were in and things they were learning and the opportunities they had and the different resources available to them, and the choices that they made to get themselves there, and just if they felt like it was the right decision, the things that they liked and that they didn't like about the school they were at, and just get their overall experience and like advice for someone pursuing something related. So.
Excellent. And what can you tell me about the process, from there? So you spoke with Megan Swojkowski, mm-hmm. who was Penn State at the time, and I think you got a little bit of information about her shortcutting process and what was available at the school. Can you kind of explain that?
I'm trying to remember exactly what she told me, actually. I remember more my conversation with Tessa, I think her name was, right?
Kara.
Kara, yeah, Tessa's her sister.
Tessa's her sister.
Yeah. Kara, I remember more of my conversation with her, she spoke so highly of the program that she was in and the professors that she had, and just her research into her college, and she spoke a lot about just really looking into all the different schools and things that they offered, and speaking with other people's experience, like visiting the different schools and speaking with other students in the classes that were above her, and then just seeing all the opportunities available and which was best suited for the things that she wanted out of it. Yeah, and I just remember talking with her a lot about they had a news studio and like a radio station that she worked a lot with, and she did these really intensive assignments that were like very much related to assignments that would be like in a real journalism field. Like if you were out there working for a news station, these are the things that you would be doing. And she's just talked a lot about working really closely with her professors and doing these crazy like 1 week long assignments that you just put in everything, all of your time and effort and energy for like a whole week, and you come out with this awesome piece of like work, and then like a month later do the whole thing over again, and then you just like keep going. And I remember how cool her program sounded. It was really awesome.
Cool. So that refinement, from understanding that, what insight, like how did that start to lead you in the direction that you're in now?
So talking with them just led me to want to talk to more people in different schools and different programs and just asking different people's processes for finding the right school for them. So just figuring out what I wanted out of a school and like what I was looking for in a program and what I wanted available to me with like different equipment and classes and professors and things like that. And so then that just led me to like a very long, intensive Google searches of just the best schools in different media related fields, and looking for whys, like reading different blogs and comments and articles just all about different schools and their programs, and then also talking with upperclassmen who I knew who had visited other schools or who were currently attending other schools, and just talking to them about their decisions and whether they thought it was the right decision and the things that they liked and that they didn't like. And I was just really trying to figure out what I wanted to do specifically, because I wasn't totally sure what field I wanted to go to. I knew I wanted something technology media related, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to do journalism or if I wanted to do new media or photography or things like that. And so I found more what I wanted to do by figuring out what I didn't want to do. So by talking with Kara, I figured out that I didn't want to do journalism, even though her program sounded really cool, but that's just not really where my passion was. Did I lose you? We're back. Okay.
For a second there, sorry about that. I had a call come in.
Oh yeah. So just by talking with more people, I just refined more of what I actually wanted and what I knew I didn't want and what I knew I was looking for. And so just like piecing together all different conversations and with my own research and with college like scouts coming to our, like college representatives coming to our school and getting to speak with them about the programs at their schools, and then just visiting schools myself and talking to professors and program heads and stuff like that.
Okay, so it's quite a research process, and I think some of the key points in there is, the refinement, the time it takes, and finding out what you want to do. And I think you mentioned finding out what you don't want to do. So that, I think, is one of those things that you can't take for granted. If you're moving 100% in a direction and somebody gives you a little bit of insight as to what it is or what it might entail, and it doesn't fit with your life situation, making a decision sooner than later before you get into the college environment, I think that's a good little bit piece of insight there. So can you tell me about your current situation? So you went into your school, you're at Liberty, correct?
Yep.
And it's your first year, but you are a junior.
Yes.
But can you explain how that came about?
So our high school offered this thing called a CAP credit program. And so it's basically, it partners with the local community college, and they offer dual enrollment courses. So you still take them at high school, like in high school, like with everybody else, like the same classes, but you can pay through the program. So I believe it was $150 for a 3-credit class. And so you just pay for the class. And then if you pass the class with a C or above, then you get a transcript from the community college just saying that you took this class. So it's like, so instead of AP English language, you took English 101, like through the community college. And so I just took as many of those classes as I could. And the technology program was so many of those credits for me, because a lot of those classes were actually double credits. So they were $300, but they were 6 credits each. And it was a 3-year program, so I took 3 of those classes. And so I just took a lot of those classes, and a lot of them were classes I was already taking. So the technology ones were more like enrichment classes and like things like that, but like English, science, history, math, like those were all classes I was already taking, obviously, but then I just paid to take them through the CAP program, and so then I got them as college credit. So then by the time I graduated senior year, I had 54 college credits just from doing nothing extra but just paying for them, which is way cheaper than paying for it if you took it through an actual college, like if I actually went to college for those courses. And so then now right now I'm in the spring semester, so like the second semester of my freshman year technically, but I'm a junior by credit, which has been really awesome because that means I don't have to take any gen ed. So I'm not in any math, any science, any English, any social studies or anything like that. Like I'm just in my major-based classes right now, which has been really cool because that's like a 1.5 year jump start on pretty much everybody else. Because all my other friends right now are taking like those basic general level classes before they can take their major-based classes. So I'm already like in the thick of the classes I want to be taking. So like I'm even more sure that this is the major I want to pursue because I'm already doing the things. I don't have to wait 2 years to figure out, oh, this isn't what I want to do anymore. So that's been really cool. And it's also like I am here on a full scholarship, which is really awesome. And it's through that I'll still be here for 4 years. So I can graduate next year if I wanted to, but I'm double majoring and minoring. So I'm double majoring in digital media, video, and graphic design, and then I have a minor in Spanish. So I'm just like taking full use of my scholarship here and just like the extra credits I had so that I can get more out of like a normal 4 years.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
I think if you can find shortcuts and do that work ahead of time so that you can spend less time, in prerequisite type things or, in the system, so to speak. I've kind of found some of those in my career path, and it's important to seek those things, starting with having those conversations. I think did your conversation with Megan or Kara bring the CAP credits kind of front and center?
Actually, my dad found out about the CAP program because it's a program that like our high school offers, but that they don't feel like they don't do a good enough job vocalizing it, because a lot of people, like I had so many friends who were in the same exact classes I were, so like they could have taken them as CAP credit classes, but they didn't really know what it was, so nobody did it. And then like I told them afterwards, like, oh, like I wish I did that, like I could have had so many more credits like to bring to college. And so I just feel like they don't do a good enough job of like explaining what the program is. But my dad, he was talking to one of his friends about it who did it with one of his kids, and so he's like, oh, that sounds really interesting, I think we have that too. And then so he looked into it. He's like, these classes are so cheap compared to any other, if you actually went to university to take these general level classes, and you don't have to do any extra work, like I'm already taking this class and I can just pay for it and get out of the way before I actually have to go to college. So I found out about that through my dad, actually.
That's I hear that very often. A good friend of mine who had a student in our district in the Seneca school, he couldn't rave enough about being able to get college credit in high school. So I'm not sure who out there has those types of opportunities, but that's definitely something to research. In terms of like, the financing side of college, did you how did that research go for you? So it seems like you found the shortcut to cheaper college credits, and you also you said you're on a full scholarship. Can you explain what you did there?
So a lot of my scholarship is through the National Merit program, which is based on your PSAT score. And so I found out about that program my freshman year because my dad found out about it again after my sister had already graduated high school. So at that point, it was like too late for her to do it because you take the PSAT your junior year of high school. But he found out a lot of schools offer, like if you are a National Merit Commended or finalist scholar, a lot of universities offer like full tuition or full ride scholarships for just being like having that title. And so I was like, oh, that sounds really nice. So from basically freshman year to junior year, I just was studying. I was doing SAT prep books, and I was doing Khan Academy, and I had a tutor for a little while, and I was just studying and studying and studying for this test so that I could get a good grade on it. And then I did. And so I'm a National Merit Commended Scholar. And so through Liberty, that earns you a full tuition scholarship. And then I'm also in the honors program at Liberty, which is another $4,000 scholarship. And then I got 2 local scholarships that I applied to. One of them I applied to through Shawnee, like my high school. It was for the Medford Vincenttown Rotary. And so I just had to write an essay. And then once like my essay got like through the next round of like determining like who gets it, then I sat down for an interview with members of the Rotary, and then I got a $5,000 scholarship through that. And then I applied for a scholarship through my credit union. They had like a scholarship competition, and I had to write an essay and make a video about a topic, and then submit that in, and that was another $5,000 scholarship. So it's just like applying for all the scholarships I could find, and hours of looking for those scholarships, and applying for ones that I didn't get, but just still applying anyway because everything helps. And so like those added up, and then like my National Merit one added up. So I don't pay anything to go to school here, which is a huge, huge blessing.
Incredible. Yes. Yeah. That's amazing. So
yeah,
stacking all that together, I guess I want to kind of like step back, because we're talking about like how you've got this like ball of momentum to basically pay off college, and to get certainty, all the research. The thing that I'm trying to get people to understand is how to do that research and how to just connect to people. Can you just but maybe even one step back from that is like, how do you get the mindset to be able, like, what made you act when you heard, hey, in class, a teacher like me just saying, hey, it might make sense to reach out to mentors, people that are in the program, people that are 1 year out of the program, people that are 5 years out of the program, and make your decision based on that. Talk to people who are actually doing it, not just the people who are teaching you about it right now that have been out of college for who knows how many years, and the guidance counselors. I guess if you were talking to me, so like I haven't mentioned my story, but you've heard my story before. I wanted to be an architectural engineer when I was 5 years old. I was telling people I want to be an architectural engineer, using that language, playing with Legos. And we kind of did all the things in high school. Like I was in drafting classes all 4 years, and I loved drawing and the whole process of structure. And I went to Rowan, and they didn't even offer architectural engineering. I got scholarships. I got, I didn't look at a lot of colleges. This was back in the day before the internet was really a thing. My first year in college, we had like a solid internet connection, but we were in dial-up back then, and not a whole lot of people had stuff that was online, websites and that kind of thing. So my thing is like, why didn't I have the mindset to kind of reach out and talk to people who were architects and like dig that stuff up? And my parents didn't tell me any better. My guidance counselors didn't tell me any better. So like, what is it that you heard in maybe my conversation, or maybe it's from your parents, that got you in the mindset to just do it, act on it?
I don't know if it's necessarily something I heard, but just kind of like an internal push. Is just like, because mine was a little bit different than yours, because you're always like, I want to be an architectural engineer and like things like that, but I wasn't totally sure what I wanted to do. Like I could see myself in teaching or with technology, which the whole reason that I decided to do technology is because of that course, that program that I was in high school, that just like, oh wait, this is really cool, and I want to do this with like my career and stuff. And so just like, but freshman year I wasn't really sure of that either, because I was like, my first year in the program, I was just like figuring out stuff. So then I just kind of wanted to talk to as many people as I could to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. And so it was like, oh, these people are pursuing something that I might be interested in. Let me see if that's something that's actually something that I want to do. And so just talking to them, and they're like, oh, like that program sounds really cool, but I don't know if that's what I want. And then talking to other people, like, oh, their program sounds awesome, and like I can totally see myself doing that, and things like that. So it's not as much as I don't know if it was as much of a push to like network necessarily, but more of a push to figure out what I wanted to do. And I'm like, networking is a way that I can figure that out. So talking to people about their mistakes and their experiences is how I figure out, okay, how can I avoid these mistakes, and how can I find my own experience that I'll enjoy, and how can I get there the most efficiently way possible. And so like that helps me with like my college search and like scholarships too, because I was like, okay, now that I know what I want to do, I need to find the best place to do it and the cheapest way to do it, because I definitely could not afford being here if it was not for all my scholarships. Because both of my older sisters, they did a year at community college and then they transferred. to a university afterwards, which is definitely what I would be doing too if I didn't have my scholarships. But then my situation's also different because my dad didn't know about the CAP program while they were like still in high school, really. So they didn't have nearly as much as I did. So like I basically already had more credits graduating from high school than they did from a year of community college too. So it's just like all those things adding up, and I'm just like, I want to do as much as I can to put myself in the best place that I can to do it most efficiently and to do the things I want to do. And like that puts you so far ahead of the curve because like if I can graduate college without any college debt, that already is like huge. And if I can have a double major and a minor, and I want to study abroad as well. So like doing all these things that not many people get to do with less debt and less energy really spent on it, because I get to dive right into the classes that I want to do and like start working on the projects that are going to help me build up to like the big awesome ones, while like all my other while all my other friends are like sitting in English 101. Like I'm out like making these awesome things, and like that just puts me like so far ahead and like gets me more excited to do the things that I want to do, and like puts me in a better spot to do that. So yeah.
I think, being able to do what you want to do sooner is a major key insight there as well. Starting as a junior and being able, in core classes, um, even so much as start doing what you want to do right away before you're even going to college. So let's talk about that because you also did that. Can you tell me like how that networking experience went and like how that goes? So basically what I think is you connect with mentors, not just to know where they went to school, but like what they do and start doing it yourself before you even go to college. I hear all these students all the time that are, speaking about, hey, I want to code video games and, all right, well, go build a video game. Like, go. So, can you tell me your experience with that?
Yeah. So again, that started with like the technology program and figuring out like, oh, like this is really cool. Like I really enjoy this and I'm pretty good at it. And so I just like fell in love with doing little segments and videos and like the assignments that we did in class. And I thought it was so fun. And I just, I excelled at it. And then you put me in contact with a physical therapy company, a local one, who was looking for like a student videographer, like basically just like a cheap high school student who could make videos for their YouTube channels and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to do that. But then that came with I couldn't use school's equipment anymore because like contingencies and like you can't whatever else. But so I had to buy all my own equipment, which is a big investment for a 16-year-old high school student because I didn't really have all the budget available for that. But I was like, I know that this is something that I want to do with my life and something that I enjoy doing. And this is, I have to kind of spend money to make money, and like this is an investment in not only this job, but like future jobs and like for college and things like that. So I sprung for like $700 worth of equipment and I went and I did the job and I loved it. I thought it was so fun. And then they asked me to do more videos and different things. And so I still to this day work with them. And so what is this now? I think going on 3 years of working with them, which has been so fun. And like I've learned so much just by like my first assignment that I did with them, like probably wasn't the best work in the world, but I mean, I figured they kind of know that working with a 16-year-old high school student. But I learned so much by just working with them because I figure out like, oh, okay, that doesn't work, or this angle isn't the best, or I have to do these things in order to get this product. And just like learning like time management and like professional language and like communicating with people and like really stepping up and like leading my own project. And like there's not a teacher sitting behind me like giving me a grade on this. Like I'm getting paid to do this. I have to do it well. So that was a really cool experience so early because that was before I guess I had any real technical training. I was just kind of doing it and I was learning as I was going, and it was so awesome. And it was like through that therapy office that I like still work through this day that I found other networking connections, and I work on other projects for people who work for that company and things like that. So it's just been really awesome.
So all from networking, and I like to say preparation meeting opportunity as well. So you have the mindset to take on the projects. I yeah, as a manager, I'm a teacher, but you know, we produce a ton of media. So like
Hmm.
when I need to get something done, there's like this cost benefit analysis. Like I have to instruct a student to get them to the point where this production can be sent to a television station. And then there's students who already have that capacity, and you know, only a small group of students who have that capacity and also have the ability to be able to, you know, handle a more kind of professional and completely independent production. So things can't come my way all the time, and you know, it was nice that, you know, hey Leah, we have this opportunity and you're ready to go, and off you went. So um, I think that if more people would leverage the skills that they have in high school and start looking for those types of local jobs, and it does have to do a lot with media. So like we have a very specialized skill set. There's not a lot of people who
Hmm.
kind of understand the nuts and bolts of what we do, but it's very easy. And I mean, what we're doing right now, like palm of your hand, we're both on a cell phone, we're on Skype, you click record. It's that simple to create
Hmm.
something that hopefully will help people. That's the whole reason, you know, we're having this conversation, just documenting, you know, the process of getting clarity on shortcuts to understand what you want to do for your career, and then once you have that, what you should be doing and doing it. So you know, that was you working with this physical therapy company, creating media for them, and then also getting clarity for the college or the training environments that you need, because not all the time is it going to be college. Like there's, you know, masterminds and different
Hmm.
online types of programs that people enroll in, and you grow exponentially. um, you know, but it starts with you, like, so preparation meeting opportunity and you being ready, and having the mindset to do it. um, so that, I think, is one of, you know, the biggest lessons is, you know, get off the fence and start doing that stuff as soon as possible. So like you as a freshman, I was so proud of you. Like I have this conversation every year, and uh, not too many freshmen take, like, literally zero. Leah Ginion is the only who has ever done it. So we're having this conversation now, and you can see how much further along you are, and it's just, you
Yeah.
know, it's proof. So um, thank you for being awesome, and you know, it's an honor to be able to talk to you and share this with people. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's kind of like the first part. So like we wanted to just understand what it's like for somebody who has done it, and kind of, you know,
Hmm.
this is proof of concept. Like if you're out there and you just, you're not sure, and you know, reaching out to mentors might be scary to you, and you don't know what the benefit is. I mean, here's the benefit. You know, you get clarity very quickly. um,
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of like model what it's like to have that conversation. So on my site, I kind of developed this article, and you know, we've talked about it together, and um, there's questions to ask mentors. I think it's going to be a little bit more than 15-minute conversation, but I think a respectful amount of time. Most people will say yes to 15 minutes.
Hmm.
So if you're talking to somebody who's in college, or you know, a couple years out of college, even like the person that's at the pinnacle of their career, and you know, maybe they're the best in the world, um, even those folks, they'll give 10, 15 minutes up. The questions may run longer than that depending on how the answers go. So like what we'll do is we'll try to go 15 minutes, and then, you know, running those questions, and then, you know, see how much we can get in that time, and then if it extends, we'll kind of go from there. Sound good?
Hmm.
Excellent. So, you know, you would pick up the phone, you get, once you have their information, you know, you do your searches. There's LinkedIn searches, there's recruiting.net, and you know, however else you find them on social media. In our case, it was you had a direct reference from somebody who I had talked, and then
Hmm.
um, what's the connection point? Is it a phone call? Is it Skype? I recommend Skype because it's like we're recording this right now, and it's so easy. And having that as a reference, and also having that as a portfolio, like asking the person if you can share it, and then, you know, when you're in either a job interview or a college interview, you know, you've already talked to people in their company, and you have it, you know, documented, and all this insight, and like here's my portfolio of the interviews, and you know, what we talked about. But here's what I learned from all that, and this is what I acted upon from all these conversations. So just kind of like making a video portfolio of all your interviews. Skype's like the easiest way to go, in my opinion, right now with the tech that's out there. So, we link up on, Skype. It was click a button and, we got a video call going, click another button, and now we're recording, and it says, you're recording at the top of the screen so everybody knows. And then, you go into these questions. So, Leah, thanks again for being, taking the time out. I guess my first question here is, what do you recommend for someone like me who might want to do what you want to do, what you're doing, for training? What do you think is the best training?
For training, well, honestly, the thing that will probably put you the fastest in the best place first is just doing it. Like, learning the skills that you don't have and then applying those skills. So like, if you have never touched a camera before, look up YouTube videos and tutorials and read books and like figure out how to use a camera and get your hands on one and start using it. Like, don't be afraid to do things because you don't know how to do them yet, because you learn by doing it. And that's actually one of Liberty's like slogans for our media program is learn by doing. So it's just, if you don't know how to do it, get someone who does and get them to teach you, or find someone online who does, because there's a million people online with a million different videos of how to do things. So I guarantee if there's something you don't know how to do, somebody knows how to do it and they've explained how to. So just figure it out, and then also like don't be afraid to make bad projects, because I've made so many of them. And the first couple projects you make are going to be awful. They're going to be so bad, don't show them to anyone because they're really bad. But you have to make that bad thing to realize the bad mistakes that you made and then learn from them. Because I did so much of that, like with my documentary, like my junior year of high school, I made so many mistakes with the audio and with the lighting and with the editing. And I was like, wow, I wasn't fully behind the final product, but now I'm like, now I know what to do next time. And so like, now I know what to do with the lighting. Now I know what to do with audio, because that audio was a pain in the butt. It was so bad. But I'm like, now it was through getting that bad audio that now I know how to master audio, and now I know how to fix things in audio. And I learned that from literally watching tutorials online. I spent hours and hours and hours trying to fix one audio track, and now I know how to do that so quickly and easily, just by like messing around with different things and like looking it up and asking questions. And I read articles about it and all these different things. So it's like, did I end up with the best audio? No, but now I know how to get good audio from the beginning and how to fix little problems in the audio. So it's just like, make the mistakes and make bad things so that you can make the good things later. So just like, because I feel like so many people are like, oh, like, yeah, I really want to be a director, or I really want to be a producer or a videographer. I'm like, okay, like, what have you made? And they're like, oh, nothing, I don't know how. I'm like, well, how are you going to learn? Like, you can't just expect to show up one day to college. Like, you don't just show up to class one day in college and I'm like, oh, now I'm a videographer, now I know how to do it. It's like, no, you have to make videos to be a videographer. And so many people are just like so on the fence, or like scared to do things because they're afraid to do it wrong. I'm like, do it wrong, do it bad, go horribly, but then now you know how to do it well. So it's just like, that's my biggest thing, is just make everything and then figure out how to do it after.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a button masher, not reading the manual, open the thing up and get going on it. But there is a training side of it. So yes, you then, why is this not working? How do I make it work? Read the manual, read the YouTube, watch the YouTube videos, watch the people who explain it, and get to the bottom of, what the thing is to move on to the thing that you really need to do, but doing it. So I think, having a lot of material, I hear the analogy all the time. There's a college class. It's a pottery class, and one side of the room, they have to get their grade from the weight of the amount of pottery that they make. So you put it on the scale at the end of the semester, and that's where you get your grade. And then the other side of the room, they have to make the best pot, one. And they do all the theory and the whatever it takes to do the training, and then it's just one piece. And when you compare the results, the people who make more pots make better work than the people who are striving for the best work. So there's that, and then I think just artists are prolific. Just constantly working on the craft. You're constantly pumping out new stuff, or the same stuff over and over until it iterates better. So whether you're a photographer, you're a producer, media, whether you're a writer, you're just habituating, getting yourself, putting the time in, and constantly churning work. So that's kind of like what I'm getting at with this too. So it's like, do one interview, get it under your belt, probably do a bad job, probably don't record the audio like we did yesterday, and mess it up, and then do it again and again and again and again. And then the more you get comfortable and confident with it, you're just going to nail it down, and you're going to learn from it. You get comfortable, and you get all this crazy insight from all the work that you're doing. So it's that, I think. What do you recommend for the best kind of training? Do it. Just get in there and start doing it right away. So that first question was about 5 minutes. There's a lot of questions here, so I'm just trying to gauge time to keep that 15-minute schedule. Is there anything that you would recommend me do if I was to do what you do?
Find people who are way better than you at what you want to do, and then learn from them, and ask them hey, I heard you're doing a video shoot this week, or you're making this new project, can I help? I'm really good at editing, or I'm really good at lighting or color grading, can I do this? And then you show me how to make a good shot, or how to do audio, or how to make a good set, or something like that. So find people who are really good at the thing that you know nothing about, and then work with them and help them out by giving them area of your expertise, and then let them help you way more than you help them by them teaching you how to do all these other things. Because that's how you make good stuff. It's just surrounding yourself with people who know how to do it, and who are better than you. I always say, don't be the most talented person in the room, because you're never going to learn anything. So surround yourself with people who are doing it and who are really good at it, and then just by being around them and working with them and seeing the content they create, you become better, because you see their inspiration and their thought process and their pre-planning and their production and post work and their work ethic and just all of that, and you just pick up that and kind of just absorb it, and that's how you make better stuff. It's just surrounding yourself with people who are making good stuff.
Yeah. And then how do you find that, I guess, is my follow-up. That's not on there. How do you connect with those people?
I mean, social media is just a huge way. Find people who are making content that you love. Find the best of the best and reach out to them. Worst case scenario, they don't answer or they say no, and then find somebody else. So just find people who you admire. And I mean, at college, it's really easy to do it because I'm in classes with 30 other kids who are pursuing the same major that I am, who want the same thing that I do. So they're all making their own projects. So it's hey, can I help you with this? Or can we make this? Or start your own project. Say, is anyone interested in doing this? I need an editor, or I need a director. Who do you want to do this? Because I want to edit. So it's let's work together and make something really cool. So in college, it's definitely easier, I think, because you're surrounded by people who are trying to do it. But I guess if you're not in that kind of environment, then just use the internet. It's big. A lot of people are on it. You're going to find something. So just find that media that you're interested in and figure out who's making it and reach out to them.
Okay, I'm gonna flip the question in the negative now. What do you recommend me not to do?
What should you not do? Oh yeah. So this contradicts almost what I said earlier about the just do it and go out and make that media stuff, because it's good to get your butt off the fence and just to actually start it and get your feet wet and get the gears working, but then you have to plan. You can't always just go out and shoot something. You can't just show up and be oh, where is everyone? Where are the actors? Where's the lighting? What am I shooting today? What's the story? You have to sit down and be okay, where are we shooting? What time are we meeting? Who's going to be there? Who's doing what? What are we filming? What's the story? What's the plan? What are the shots we're getting and how long and for when, for what. And so like you have to answer all those questions, and you can't, sometimes it does work out where you can just show up and get something really awesome and really cool, but it does not always work like that. And you need to get like location approvals, and you have to find the right people and get them to be there where you, when you want them to be, and all these different things. You have to make plans, and you have to rate out scenes that you want and a script, or just like shots that you want to get. So it's like you have to sit down and do the pre-production work, because that's like honestly 90% of the work is the pre-planning, which can be really long and agonizing and boring, and you just want to start filming, but it's like you're probably going to come out with like a piece of hot trash if you don't do all this planning. So go out and do it and get the inspiration and get going. But then if you want something like really good, you have to actually sit down and do the planning for it. So don't listen to people who just say, oh no, you don't ever have to like actually work this out. Like just go, just get it, and it'll be good, because it probably won't be.
Yes, run and gun is it's used in journalism, but it's tough if you're trying to polish something that a product that is deemed professional and clickable and shareable and likable, and people will pay to see it. So yeah, there is quite a bit of planning that goes into that type of work. I'm going to pivot a little bit here. Do you have any advice for getting internships and meaningful work, even at the high school or college level?
Yeah, so that's something I'm going through now, because I need to look for internships for the next 2 summers, and I'm looking on getting those set up, and I'm also like looking to go abroad and things like that. And it's just research. Like look, like if you're at college and like you're looking for an internship, odds are your college has some kind of, oh, sorry, I had another call. Odds are your college has some kind of program to help you find some kind of internship with what you want to do. So like my college had one specific for abroad internships, and so they like literally build a program for you based on what you want to do and like what you want to get out of it, which is so cool. But otherwise, like if you're just on your own, then just like look up in the fields that you want to go in and find the big names and the big companies and things like that and apply for them. Somebody has to get the job, why not you, you know? So it's just like a lot of times people just go, oh, like I could never get a job working for a big television company or for like this big name. Like I couldn't work for BuzzFeed or like NBS or like whatever else. But it's like my sister got an internship at Canon a few years ago just because she applied and she got the job. So it's just like fill out the application. Worst happens, you don't get it, and just find another one. So it's just applying for everything that you see, and then figuring out from there, okay, who responded back to me, what can I actually do, and what's actually applicable, and then going from there. So it's just like kind of the same thing with like the scholarships. Search like crazy for all the ones that you can possibly find, and then apply to all of them, and figure it out.
Yes, absolutely. I think the connection, the social media, following your curiosity and scheduling time to do it. And I think that when you're passionate about it, it makes it easy. If you're still searching and you're uncertain, the more people you talk to, it starts to point in direction. So, what do I want to do? What do I not want to do? It starts to iron out when you hear what people are doing. Cool. What do you think? And I know we talked about this earlier. The next question is, what's your experience with scholarships and financing college tuition? Do you have any quick tips on that?
Talking to people and researching, because I found out about my credit union scholarship by talking to a friend who had gotten that scholarship. Like I didn't even know that it was a thing, and she's like, oh yeah, I got this awesome scholarship. Like, oh cool. And so I looked it up, found out about it and applied, and then I got it. So it's just again, like just figuring out what other people did and what they didn't do, what they wish they did, what worked and what didn't work, and then applying their mistakes to your own research, and just like and setting out a lot of time to do it, because it takes so long and it's so boring and it's not fun, but like it literally has saved me probably like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So it's so worth it.
How much time do you think you spent on it?
I probably I would kind of work on it like every couple weekends. I were to guess, I would say I probably spent like a total of like 30 hours maybe, give or take, on like researching and writing the essays for them and applying for them and things like that. Maybe, honestly, I'm really bad at estimating numbers. So it could be way more or way less. But
So if you
I
were to
would,
schedule it, it was like on the weekends you were doing
yeah,
it, a couple hours each
yeah.
weekend?
On like Saturdays, I would give myself a good chunk of time and just be on my computer looking for them and writing the essays for them and just doing
Submit.
as much as I could for them. But because the week gets super busy, especially like in junior year and senior year with all the homework and tests and all that other stuff that you have going on. But it was obviously so important to have that research for scholarships, because that's why I am in college right now, because of those scholarships. So
Yeah.
just like, even though I definitely probably wish I could be doing other things on a Saturday morning or things like that, it's just like being disciplined to just sit down and crank it out and do it.
How did you, all right, so this question is, I guess if you're more into your career, but how did you try to get your foot in the door before you had your big break? So do you have like a big break moment, and what do you think was your into that?
So I don't think I've quite had a big break yet, because I'm still just kind of working on like little things and just like personal projects and things like that, and like still just like learning, obviously, with like college and stuff. But going back to the physical therapy place that I still work for and I do freelance work for, the owner of that physical therapy place has like started a new business consulting firm type thing, and so this is like his total own personal project. But with that, he wrote a book, and so he asked me if I could make like a book promo video and contact with his old clients and get like video testimonials from them to upload to his website and just like all these different things. So that was a really cool opportunity, because it was something different, even though it was like kind of the same person who had hired me before and like who I'm still working with in that aspect. But this was just like something completely, was like, I know that you're capable of doing this and like I trust you. I'm like, here's like my client list, here's what I want, like go get it. And so basically it was just like on me to like correspond with these different people, like, hey, like I'm working for this guy that used to help out with you, and like he wants a video testimonial for his new book and like his new company, like would you be interested in helping, and like things like that, and like coordinating with them to like set up a video testimonial and like getting them, a lot of it is getting them to do what I want them to do so I can do it for the guy who's hiring me to do it, which is its own learning process in itself, is working with other people who aren't necessarily cooperative. But it's just been really cool to learn from that, because I've made mistakes with it and had to learn how to fix them on my own, and like, okay, I'm accountable to this, and like he's counting on me to figure this out and to get this done, like I need to get it done. And so it's just like spending time doing that and just like filming, and like I had never done a video testimonial before, or like worked with other people. Like it was usually it's people reaching out to me to film them to do things, but he's like, reach out to these people to film them, to get them to do that, which is a cool experience. And then also with like design, because like I'm also a graphic design major, um, I've designed a few like wedding invitations and saved the dates for like a few family members and others, just like as a favor, like for free. And then other people have like seen my designs, like, hey, like your work is really awesome, like I'm having a wedding soon, or I'm having some event soon, like can you make invitations for me? And then they're paying me to do it for them, which is really awesome. So it's just like getting my foot in the door by like doing those free favors, and then sharing that work everywhere and like showing people like, hey, this is what I did, and then like using that to like build up my portfolio to get me work that is paid and like will get me further and things like that. So
Good. So I guess, what do you think the toughest part about what you do is?
um the toughest part is probably just like, especially at college, because while I am like kind of ahead of the curve with my classes and things like that, so I'm a freshman in upper level classes, but that means I'm with other juniors and seniors who have been doing this for like 3 or 4 years now, and this is technically just my first year, and so they're slightly more advanced like in the things that they're doing just because they've been doing it for longer. And so I like produce something or create something that I think is really cool and really awesome, and then I look at the kid next to me and I'm like, oh, that's way cooler, like way more original, way more intricate. I'm like, oh, like that looks way better than mine does. But like, so that's hard because I'm constantly surrounded by people who are making better content than I am, and who are just more original and more creative and have a better handle on the different programs and technology than I do. But then that's also like a huge blessing because I'm sitting right next to them in class and like, oh, like how did you do that? Or where'd you come up with that idea? Or can you show me how you did that? And things like that. So it's just like I'm surrounded by people, like going with my own advice. I'm definitely not the most talented person in the room, and that's challenging because then it pushes me to like, okay, I have to step it up. But then it's like these people can help me step it up. Like I'm being surrounded by them and they're showing me how they did it and showing me where they got their inspiration from and like different things like that. So it's a blessing and a curse in both, where I'm constantly like, oh, like I need to do better, but it's also like these better people are helping me to be better. So
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing that I have visitors upstairs coming in. So the thing that I wanted to point out there was where people are finding their insight and their inspiration. So like in this business and many other businesses, you know, when you're talking to the person who does it best, like what led them to that, and you know, having that, you know, little insight as to their thinking that got them there and that influences their style is good stuff. And we're running a little long now. I think I'm going to just try to pick up a little bit. I have an appointment as well. So 5:15, I'm going to end our call. So we're going to do lightning round. How's that sound?
Ready.
What is your best networking tip for your industry?
Specifically for college is just talking to your professors and introducing yourself, especially if you go to like a really big school, because they definitely don't know your name if you're in a big lecture hall. So just introducing yourself and talking to your classmates and figuring out what other projects people are working on. And then also just like social media, like find those people that are making the stuff you want to make and message them and keep messaging them until they answer you. And if they say no, find somebody else and just like keep doing that.
What about best networking tip? Well, that was, I guess, for college.
Yeah.
The first one would be for your industry. So you kind of combine the two, and I think social media will do that. How about best college success so far?
That has definitely just been like relationships, like not even specifically in my industry or my major or career wise things, but like just making these relationships with people who are making me a better person, like emotionally, physically, spiritually, relationally, and things like that. So that's been just really awesome. Like meeting so many people from so many like different walks of life with different outlooks and different perspectives, and just learning from them and like helping each other grow along has just been really awesome.
Worst career mistake?
Career mistake, that was definitely from one of my first projects of working with this physical therapy place. I went to a shoot and we had like we were shooting for like 2 hours and like we got all this footage, and then I didn't put the footage onto my drive right away, like it was just on the memory card. And then later when I was using my camera, I accidentally formatted the card, and so I lost everything that we had filmed that day, and I spent so long trying to figure out if there's any way to recover it, and it was just gone. So I had to email them and be like, I'm so sorry, I lost everything, like we have to do it again. And I was like, I'll do this free of charge, like I'm so sorry, like I'll do this quick turnaround time. But I was just like, I felt so bad, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. So that was rough. But now every time, as soon as I'm done a shoot, the footage immediately goes onto my drive in like 3 different places. So
Hey, that's how you learn. Yeah.
yeah.
Redundancy.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of backups.
Yes.
How about best career success story?
Best career success. I don't know if I can name like one specific one that I'm like, I would say it's like this big success, but I think just like looking over the work that I've done, and I can see myself continually improving and learning more with each new thing that I do. It's just like a success in itself, because I'm not a freshman in high school making the same crappy videos that I was. Like I've grown so much from there and like learned so much, and but I'm still using like the same skills that I was learning back then, but I've grown so much more in those skills, and just like seeing what I can do with a camera and with just like planning different things. And so I would say success has been less of like one specific project that I've done, but just the work overall, and how I can see how far I've come, but I can still look at other people and see how much further I can go, and like what I can do has been like a success, I guess.
Good. Yeah. I'm gonna flip again negative. I kind of jumped around in the questions a little bit, and I, I hope that the viewing audience here understands and is okay with the comfort with this. It does throw people off a little bit when you're asking them the negative question, but when you do that, you're getting like this much deeper thing. You know, it does set people, like, it kind of catches people off guard a little bit, but it does give you pretty good insight. So, and I know you've only been in college for a little while. What do you think, worst college mistake?
That's definitely something I learned first semester, is just like overworking myself like crazy, and just trying to do all of the classes and all of the clubs and the sports and the events and hanging out with all the friends and doing all the homework, and it just like it gets a lot and it gets crazy, and I wasn't sleeping enough and I wasn't eating enough and properly like taking care of myself all that well. So I was just exhausted and like so drained all the time, and I was just like, but I still wanted to push myself because like I'm here and I'm here for free, and I like want to learn as much as I can, as much as I possibly can. So it's just like, but learning that it's okay to take a nap. It's okay to go to bed earlier and not go to every event or be involved in every club and things like that. So it's just definitely something I learned first semester is work hard but don't go crazy.
Yes, yes, good tips. Yes, it's very
Mm-hmm.
easy at the college environment to definitely hit lots of long hours and,
Yeah.
lots of social things. So, staying in tune with your need for some rest every once in a while. It's
Mm-hmm.
good that you've already hit that and found that. Um, here's some questions from, it's a book called Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss. Has the how has failure or apparent failure set you up for later success? Do you have a favorite failure of yours?
Um, I think that goes back to like not one specific project, but just like the work that I did earlier, like in high school and things like that, and just not being prepared enough, or like not researching enough, or um, writing down enough questions, or just like knowing enough before going into something. So like having something planned, but then showing up and like, like I should have did this first, and I should have did this last night, and like I should have had this ready, and like I should have known this question or things like that. So it's just learning from not being prepared enough. And now always beforehand, I'm always like, okay, I know that I need to have X, Y, and Z ready for this shoot tomorrow, and I need to have this script ready, and I need to have these people know that they have to be here at this time, and just like checking all of the background details and things like that, and just like if I'm doing an interview or something like that, like well researching into the topic, and like having my questions set and ready, so I'm not just there like, so what's your favorite color, like asking like good questions and things like that, and just being over prepared is just way better than not knowing what to do and when to do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um, what advice would you give a smart-driven high school or college student about to enter the college world or real world, and what advice should they ignore?
Yes. So this kind of like a two-edged thing, because I was like the smart driven high school students, like, oh, like you're way ahead of the curve, like you're doing awesome, you're doing great, and like that's true, and like take appreciation for those things, but like it can also go to your head, and like you're like, oh well, since I've already worked so hard, like I can kind of like relax a little and just like, oh, I'm already way ahead, and like I know what I'm doing, like I don't have to work as hard, and like I can like kind of skimp out on doing the things I was doing before because like I'm already good. But like you're never ready enough, like you're never ahead enough, like there's always someone who's smarter than you, who's more driven than you, who knows more than you, and is doing better things than you are. So it's just like be in constant competition with that is what I would say, and like keep pushing yourself, because I promise you're never going to be the person who's the best at what you do, and you're never going to be the person who's the smartest, and you're never going to be the most prepared or the most technically knowledgeable or things like that. So it's just never put yourself in that position, because if you're in that position, then find somebody who's doing it better, because there always is going to be somebody and you can learn something from them. But then also just like, so don't let it go to your head. But then also like what I was saying before, like take a breather every once in a while, because you could like kill yourself with exhaustion and like craziness. So work hard and stay working hard, even if you think that you've worked hard enough already, because you haven't.
Well put. What are bad recommendations you hear in your profession or area of expertise?
Bad recommendations.
And I'm gonna actually take you on the road with me.
Okay.
I have to get to an appointment, so we're gonna do it.
Bad recommendations. Oh, this might not be a maybe this isn't the best answer to this question, but sometimes in like group projects in classes or something like that, like if you're making a video or something like that, and then you just go like with the kids sitting next to you or like with your friends in that class, even though they're not the best at schoolwork or the best at making a video or something like that. So it's just fighting that urge to go with the people that you already know, but it's like go with the smart aleck kid in the class who is really good at this thing and learn from that kid, even if you have to walk all the way across the room to ask him if you can be in his group, you know? Like, so kind of the recommendation is like go against the grain in that. So it's like, don't just go with the people who you've worked with before. It's like, okay, you worked with them before and you've learned from them, now work with somebody else. Or if that worked well, then work with them again. But it's just like, don't put yourself in a group that is not going to do well just because you know the kid.
I love that advice. That bravery to kind of get involved, and especially in the art that we work with, sometimes it's the edgier folks who have the interesting, insightful stuff that happens. But there's also, you got to work with people, because you don't want anybody that's going to be detrimental to the project or the vibe of what's happening, and people who are honest and trustworthy and tell the truth and do what they say they're going to do. But yeah, you got to step out of that comfort zone. So always pushing a little bit uncomfortable. Any final parting words for somebody who would want a career in your field?
Do the work beforehand, be prepared, and then have fun with it. Don't make stuff that you don't want to make. Don't make boring, dull stuff just because you think it's what people want to see. Make what you want to make and have fun doing it, and use it to encourage people and to build people up, and just make cool, awesome content.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This is take 2. I know that this is going to inspire people and give people insight on, what they're trying to do with career. And, I wish you the best, and I'm looking forward to see all the great stuff that you got coming down the pipeline.
Thank you so much.
All right, Leah. Have a good night. Bye now.
Bye.
I'm inviting you to a workshop where you work on you. Work to connect to the best in the world to get clarity. Head over to claritydojo.com. You'll get the latest research techniques, examples, and it takes all of the guesswork out of which questions to ask in order to get the best insight. Get clarity and take action today.